Hi everyone, it's Fiona here from fionamarks.com and I'm back with my Friday 5, the Friday newsletter for today, the 22nd of January. And I've got 5 topics to speak with you about. I thought we'd start with Biden's tone this week and harking back to that speech after the Capitol storming. Then I wanted to touch on planets and parenting, a very juicy topic. Third topic that I want to speak about is encouraging you to feel the agony in your chart. And then I want to touch on yoga and also let you know that there's a new testimonial up on the website. So let's begin with Biden's tone. So I don't know much about Joe Biden. He's not really been on my radar. But what I noticed was that he's kind of, in a way, seems to have a gentle energy or on this platform of uniting America and healing these rifts. And I had previously looked at his chart and seen some things that I'll show you when we get there. And I was imagining that he's going to be a bit of a grandfather or very kind of caring, healing force, or that I was wondering, how is a person, any person, going to help bring this nation together, and assuming that he was going to have some kind of gentle energy about it. So I was a little surprised at the tone that he took in the speech after the storming of the Capitol. I thought it was quite strident and quite name calling, or, that people were terrorists or whatever. I was like really surprised at this because I was expecting some kind of, we all understand where everyone's coming from. We're all on the same page. We've all got the same goals. And then, but I do notice that played really well with everyone, and seemed to read the mood of the country and the people very well. So I'm not criticizing that, objecting to it. I'm just noticing it. And then I also noticed that on that second day, the day after the inauguration, he had some kind of Zoom get together with his appointees, and the bit of video that I saw was, if I ever see you disrespecting someone on the team, you're fired on the spot. And I was a little shocked at this kind of strident approach. And also it so reminded me of like The Apprentice and you're fired. So I thought it was really, it jarred with me. I don't live in the US. I'm not participating in the culture there. So I'm sure these things are playing very well. But I just noticed them. So let's have a look at Biden's chart and see what we can see from his chart. So we've got here a few things to point out. The number one thing that comes up, that you kind of jumps out, is that we've got an exalted moon here in Taurus. And we've also got an exalted Jupiter, which also happens to be the ascendant lord, right? So you can see the exalted Jupiter, exalted moon. So we are, what two beautiful benefic planets to have exalted in the chart. That's a lovely, lovely thing. And I had thought, was highlighting that benefic energy, and imagining that was going to be the approach. But then we noticed, if we have a look down here at the Samsha, the activity, the chart of what we'll be known for and our status and those things that are activated in the workplace, our career, we can see here that there's an exalted sun and own home Mars in the Samsha chart for Biden. And that makes me think that some of his tone I thought was a bit scolding, which is that the sun can really do that, right? It kind of, as the center of all of the planets, it can, slap the wrist of anybody who gets out of line. We all orbit around in the correct place around the sun. So I thought I heard maybe some scolding in what he was saying. But then we also noticed that we've got Saturn as the ruler of the second house of speech. So that's Capricorn. And I do know that apparently he had a speech impediment as a younger person, and that perhaps his speech making or speech delivery is not his strongest suit, and maybe that charisma doesn't come out as much in his public speaking as maybe for other people. So we noticed that Saturn energy there on the speech. So maybe that's also some of what I'm hearing, that directness of Saturn's speech. And then if we have a look at the transits we've got here in the displayed in the South Indian chart, we notice that at the moment, or around this time of the inauguration, we've got Saturn and Sun together. So we've got a bit of that scolding of the Sun, but a bit of that roughness of Saturn's voice there. And then if we actually have a look at the timing of that second speech, the one I was telling you about, the "you're fired." Let me just show you that as well. Hold on. The quote was, "If you're ever working with me and I hear you treat another colleague with disrespect, talk down to someone, I promise you I will fire you on the spot." So, and this one's coming from the Australian press. As an Australian, still follow my Australian press, even though I'm a world away. So if we look at that day when those comments were made about I'll fire you on the spot, we notice that we've got a couple of things happening, and they both have got a bit of this moon energy to them. So we've got the Sun and Moon in this 4 houses away from each other situation. So creating a square here. The Sun in Aquarius, 1, 2, 3, 4 away from the Moon, or the other way around, Moon. So perhaps that's some of that strident Sun energy coming there to the people, the Moon, the masses. But we've also got the Moon opposite the natal Mars, and Moon in the sky very close to Mars in the sky. So I think some of this Mars take action kind of energy is there. And we were looking at, sorry, my PowerPoint keeps hopping ahead here. We were looking at the Dasumsha, and this is the transits for the Dasumsha. And we'll notice that that moon in the Dasumsha is even coming around into that exalted position where it is in the birth chart as well, where it is in the sky as well. So perhaps this is very wise approach by Biden, even though my unqualified opinion, or my perspective had been that this was perhaps bring everyone together in a big hug, that there's also something going on around slapping the wrists and saying what the boundaries are, that Saturn thing of boundaries, and calling the boundaries, being very clear about them, and letting people know that one is going to enforce them. And so what do you guys think of this approach? Is it what you expected? And do you like that approach? Is it kind of that approach that, when, like, the father, the disciplining role of a father is to kind of keep everyone in line with sometimes a little bit of a clip to let you're out of the line. It's like having, when you've got the dog on the leash, you pull the leash, or the dog pulls on the leash, to know that's as far as you can go. And is that actually really healing? And do you feel safer? Does one feel safer when one has that father figure who is going to call things when they're not the values and behavior that this family has? So I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on that. I really quickly pulled up Biden's chart. It's not something that I've analyzed before, Looks like it's got some amazing things to look into with these exalted planets. Couple of really quick things that we're not even talking about today. I noticed that he's just moved into Saturn Dasha, so a change of the main Dasha Lord. So interesting. Also with this thing that we just spoke about of calling things as they are and stating your boundaries. And then really quickly noticing that the D7 of our legacy and therefore our children, we've got a debilitated Mars in that D7. And we notice if we count to the fifth house of children, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it would be Aries ruled by Mars. So it's interesting with what we know about the loss of children that he's experienced. Mars is ruling the fifth house and the 12th house. Interesting to see that coming up in the Vargas there, but obviously something that warrants much more investigation than a little quick chat here today. But I thought it was just good to look at this tone and see what we expect, and to bring back to that question of, does one feel safer having that father there to keep people in line, is a nice segue to the next topic, the second topic for Friday 5, which is that I've been wanting to run a series around planets and parenting for some time, and I've just organized with a parenting coach that in February we're going to have 4 topics and discuss how astrology and parenting can inform each other. And the one that comes to mind straight away, speaking of Biden, is this idea of malefics and benefics and your parenting style. So if we think about malefics, help us grow and learn and become bigger and better and more confident by challenging us and by setting goals or milestones for us to achieve, for us to prove ourselves. They don't give away anything for free. We've got to work for everything. And in doing that, we become stronger. And benefics are like that onboard cheer squad that just want to support you all the time. And if there's anything you need or you stumble, that benefic is right there to hold your hand or to put out its hand for you to step, on its hand as you need a boost or a lift. And what is your parenting style? Is it more aligned with that malefic approach or more aligned with the benefic approach? There's advantages and disadvantages of both. And do you have different approaches for different children in your family? So I really look forward to discussing all of those with you starting in February. So keep your eyes open for that. Then I've just launched a video series today where I am examining the paradigm shifts between life coaching and Vedic astrology. So many of you know that I was a life coach. I've been a life coach since 2000, coming from that neuro-linguistic programming and from business performance coaching. And I have noticed once I started my apprenticeship with astrology, I really stepped back from coaching because I could tell that Vedic astrology was fundamentally reorganizing some of the paradigms that I had as a life coach. So I am laying that all bare in this first series where I'm talking about change and how life coaching views change and how Vedic astrology views change. It's really fascinating because sometimes we take things for granted. We think that we don't even realize the paradigms we're operating in. So the first one is up today. The next 2 or 3 are releasing over the weekend. They're just around 10 or 15 minutes each. So I hope you'll take the chance to have a look at those and be encouraged to feel the agony in your chart, to really embrace those areas that are painful, and be through that process, be in touch with yourself and your calling. Now, yoga, I have a couple of announcements regarding yoga. First one is I'm going to wrap up morning yoga at the end of January because we now have schools closed here in Portugal. So my morning routine is a little different, and the rooms that are available in the home at that time of the day are a little different. So I've really enjoyed getting up in my pajamas with you guys and establishing that routine of the morning with yoga and meditation. So let's enjoy this final week or so of yoga together. And then, when their rhythm of school comes back again, we'll open it up again. But in the meantime, or parallel with that, when you come for coaching with me these days, we just talked about that whole NLP goal setting, Tony Robbins style of life coaching that I've come from. And also now, of course, I coach more in that Vedic astrology model. I also help people apply Ayurveda to their life, and I'm qualified in MBTI as well. So there's all of those realms of coaching, but of course I coach people as well in yoga and meditation. And this week, up on my astrology channel, I've also loaded a yoga video. It is not glamorous in any way, so you have to lower your expectations. But I wanted to point it out to you in case you, well, for two reasons: in case you want to access some yoga and see the style that I do, but also to highlight that the breadth that we will call on when we coach together. So it may be about diet, it may be about motivation, it may be about agony, it might be about meditation, it could be about pain in the body. There's a breadth of information that you can tap into when we coach together. So let's just have a look on YouTube. Actually, here is the Embrace the Agony in Your chart. You can see those videos are ready to go. And here are this is the lower limb asana that was just loaded up this week. I don't imagine that there will be much yoga that goes on my astrology channel, but if you want that holistic approach to coaching, this just gives you a sense of where the yoga side of that might be at. In this video, I'm suggesting for you asanas for the feet, calves, hamstrings, and the iliacus muscle, which is on the inside of our pelvic girdle, and joining into that the front of or the inside front of the lower onto the femur. These are great if you are using your legs, for example, cycling or running, but they're also really great if, like me, these days you sit at a desk much more often, because think about when you're sitting, you are shortening the back of your legs, and all of these will help to counterbalance that daytime habit that we have of using our legs in that contracted position. So dabble in yoga if you wish. And finally, the other topic for today is there is another testimonial up on my YouTube channel. This is a beautiful testimonial where the person shares how astrology helped them gain perspective and have some introspection, and that really made a contribution to how they were experiencing a karma in their chart. So it's just a couple of minutes long. If you have a chance, I'd love you to pop on there and see the work that I do, and perhaps share it with someone who's thinking about coming for an astrology reading. All right, there we are. Great to spend time with you on Fridays, as always. I look forward to seeing you for coaching or astrology in the coming weeks. I hope you also get a chance to take part in my new series about feeling the agony in your chart, and I will see you next Friday. So until then, stay well.